I'm sure all of you guys are looking forward to finishing your SPMs, right? Exciting time. After that, it's freedom, or like almost at least. So for everyone else in the call, when the team and I, we were curating this seminar, we were thinking if we were 16, 17, 18 years old and still doing our secondary school studies, what we wish we could have learned, we could have gotten. The common answer from the team was that we hope that we had more role models, not just our seniors from our school, but also like from other backgrounds, whether they did it at a private school or government school, or they were outside of Klang Valley. And so I'm very, very pleased to introduce all of you to these four incredible people who honestly are some of the most hardworking and kindest people that I've ever met, right? I'll let them introduce yourselves, all right? So first and foremost, the four of you guys, why don't you share with the audience here a bit about your background, where you guys went to school, when did you guys finish your SPMs, like where are you guys even dialing in from, what subjects, and then like what did you do after SPM? So maybe you can start with Rashid first, and then we go with Camellia, Wing Fong, and Siva in that order.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Rashid. So, back in the day, I used to study in Sekolah Aminuddin Baki, SAB, in KL. And I was batch 2016. Yeah. And then after that, I pursue my tertiary education in Heriot Watt University, where I major in HR. And I graduated in 2022. And well, I ended up being a marketeer. So right now I'm a senior marketing specialist in FMCG. Yeah.
Hi, should I go next? Okay. Hi, I'm Camila Kamal. I studied back in 2000, like, I took my SPM back in 2018 in SMT Convent Bukit Nanas, back in KL. And yeah, how many subjects I took? Like nine subjects, and I managed to get 8A1B. After that, I managed to pursue IB, International Baccalaureate in Banting, and then continue my tertiary education in Wageningen University Research in Netherlands. After that, I'm currently in my, I just graduated and currently in my gap year before starting my master's next year. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thanks. Okay, hello and good evening to all the future leaders of our nation. All right, hope you have a wonderful day. So first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the host for organizing such a wonderful event, and it's pleasure to be here to share with all of you. All right, so a little bit background of myself. So during my high school, I was in St. Thomas High School in Pahang. So I ended in 2016. Right, I took 9 subjects in the science stream, pure science stream, and my result was straight A's with 4A plus, 5A, 1A minus. Then I ended up with scholarship in UMP Gambang, and I did chemical engineering for my degree. Right, so now I have been working for the past 2.5 to 3 years already. So currently I'm an engineer in the filtration industry. Yep. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Siva. Can you hear me, by the way? Okay, cool. Yeah, my name is Siva. Thank you, Clarissa, for actually inviting us. Um, yeah, I am actually very old. I completed my SPM around 2014. I actually studied electrical engineering, and I did in 2 schools. It's very complicated, but I studied UNITEN, University Tenaga National, and then after that I went to Purdue University in the US. And then I worked for a couple of years in TNB as an electrical engineer. And then after that, I decided I wanted to further my study and do my master's in sustainability. So I did it in Cambridge. And then I was really interested in what I wanted to study. So now I'm actually a researcher slash PhD student in Cornell in the US. So yeah, like I said, I did my SPM in 2014, a long time ago. What subjects I took. I actually did science stream and I took accounting as well, which is very common in my family for some odd reason. So I did that. I did get straight A's. Like I said, I don't remember my results anymore because it's way long ago. And yeah, now I'm just researching mostly in economics and electrical engineering. So yeah, thanks so much.
Right. Okay. To our students, if you guys have any questions, right, for our four special guests here, feel free to type in the chat. We have a Q&A session at the end, right, that we will collect and ask them accordingly. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, before today's session, all four of you were asked to describe your SPM experience in one word, and I got some really, really interesting responses. So I want to get to the bottom of this. Maybe we'll start with Wingfo and Camilla because both of your responses are actually really, really similar, right? Camilla, maybe you want to start off first.
So one word to describe SPM.
Yeah, your
Mm,
experience.
okay, I couldn't really recall much, but I remember that time I was mostly in hockey. So for my case, my struggle was like more like hockey tournaments with SPM, and then with trials you have to go through hockey leagues also. So in my case, it was like having to balance between what you're passionate about and what with your studies, and that was like a bit roller coaster. But I realized that somehow like SPM really just sums it out that it's all about time management and discipline, and from there you can still do what you're passionate about while besides always studying and everything and enjoy life. Yeah.
And then Wingfong, what about your case?
Okay, for me, the one word that I pick is sophisticated. So, studying in a public school exposes me to a multicultural community, right? So, where I learn, acknowledge, adapt, and practice. I'm filled with curiosity and love to learn, acknowledge new things such as sports, student society activities, sports club, academic competitions, domestically and internationally lah. But academic will be more on subject based, right? So these experiences, I would say, partially contributed to the soft and hard skills I possess to date, which I find it very useful and very meaningful because these are valuable assets that help me through countless scenarios.
Very true indeed. Which actually ties in very nicely with the next thing I'm about to ask. So I would direct it to Rashid. Um, what is your take? You must study all the time to get straight A's. Do you think that's true?
I think for me, it's important for you to have balance in your studies. I mean, true, we have to like give all our best, right? But it's not necessarily for you to study all the time because sometimes you do need a break as well because you want to prevent burnout, right? Yeah, because for me, how I balance out between my studies and my hobbies outside of studies, right? You can involve in extracurricular activities, like perhaps do something that you like to do. Like for me, I love drawing back then, and I took LK actually back in the day, so I have always been love drawing. Yeah.
Right, and maybe this one to for you, Siva. What's your take on this?
Sorry, please, could you repeat your question? I lost you for a bit.
Do you think you must study that one should study all the time in order to earn straight A's?
I truly disagree. I think yeah, there is a point where you actually like you have to study and you have to like understand all the concepts that you need to actually like score in your SPM. But at the same time, I think extracurricular activities is really important. Especially when you're applying for scholarships when you're done with your SPM, right? You do get your results and everything, but at the end of the day, the extracurricular activities are the ones that actually make you interesting as an individual. Because again, everybody is sitting for the same 9 set of subjects or same 10 sets of subjects. I think that's the max right now. And the extracurricular activities are the ones that make you interesting and make you stand out sometimes. And it's also a good way to actually like put your mindset in a different bucket, right? Because you get to do something that's fun, something that you find interesting. So yeah, I truly believe that you need to have a balance between studying and extracurricular activities because those two things definitely help in the long run at the end of the day.
Yeah, very, very true. Which then, because all four of you guys got pretty well in your SPM, and you guys went on to do also pretty well in your further studies. So I think a very common question that I think some students would ask is that for you guys, top scorers, have you guys ever struggled with procrastination? Like, have you found yourself, how often have you found yourself wasting your time on your phones, right? Or watching YouTube or Netflix? And how did you manage yourself when you find yourself in like that moment of laziness? I'll open this up to anyone. You guys can unmute yourself.
Perhaps I
Yeah,
can.
I guess so. Oh, yeah. Please, Rashid, please go ahead.
Okay. All right, thanks. I think for me, like back in the day, I would say that I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again? I was blank out for a bit.
No worries. Have you ever struggled with procrastination?
Oh,
How
procrastination.
do you, yeah, manage it?
Yep. For me, mm, back in the day, I remember that I didn't even like active in social media for a bit throughout the whole year because I was like focusing a lot on attending seminar and then like having extra class after school. Um, but then again, like procrastinations, not really, because I have a really good circle of friends that really drive me to be motivated. I remember back in the day we attended a lot of like seminars whenever we see like I'm not sure if Maths Clinic and Ilmu Studio was still a thing now, but during my time back then, like they conduct a lot of free seminars whereby me and my friends would like to participate in all of these free tuition centers workshop. Yeah, so I feel like it's very important for you to have like-minded friends who have this mindset that they wanted to do more. So with the correct circles, it comes in place for everything else. Yeah. So I don't really procrastinate because I know my responsibility, and every time when I procrastinate, I do have that sense of guilt for not doing enough. Because the thing is, from what I've learned back in the day, regardless of what results that I achieve during trial exam, even though it does not meet my expectations and whatnot, at least I'm satisfied because I know that I've given it my best. Yeah, so that's what important. Yeah. Back to you, Wei Feng.
Okay, thanks for the sharing. Okay, for my case, I will be very blunt and be very honest with you guys. I'm actually a full-time procrastinator and a part-time student, right? Back in those days, I procrastinate a lot. I live my life very happily, right? So I figured out a way, a technique. I mean it is applicable personally, but it's not necessary for the case of everyone. So for my case, I remain a procrastinator. I spend the same time studying, just that I refine the studying method and technique in a more brilliant way. So I spend less time on studying, but yet I still get the same results. So it's the effort you put in to structure a methodology of studying of your own. That is the most important thing that I would like to share with you guys.
Yeah, I think it's really true. Having the right friends or having your friends like be motivated to do the same kind of things that you want to do so that you can improve yourself, it really, really makes a difference, right? And before today you mentioned about like how you managed to turn around from your old habits to where you got today. Now, which leads me to my next question, right? And this is once again open to all of you. You guys can just unmute yourself to answer, right? Um, this doesn't just this is not just within your SPM year, it could be even in your Form 4 or earlier, right? But have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had there was like a single exam that you did really badly or you even did really well that changed your outlook, your path?
Yeah, I think I can take this one. Um, yeah, I remember my first AdMaths test that I took. And I to be honest, like coming from I think now it's PT3, but I don't think you have PT3 anymore, right? Back then it's not even called PT3, it's called PMR. And then after that, like I was actually very overconfident like, because I know that I could do maths. So then when I actually sit for my first AdMaths test and I thought like, oh, I could actually do this, I don't have to study, and I actually like did my AdMaths test. And then I got back a really bad result. I remember like was it like 40 something out of 100, which is really, really bad lah. At that time I was really, really disappointed. Um but yeah, to be honest, like that test really was a turning point lah, because like I was so overconfident after my PMR that I didn't really study as much. But then I realized that SPM is a different ball game, that I actually need to like hunker down and actually like think about exactly what I'm doing and how I'm studying. So that was really the turning point. And now all I do is basically add maths for throughout my whole life, actually. Like throughout my engineering career and now being a researcher as well, all I do is basically add maths. So it's really interesting like, how that one test could actually like um give you some life lessons of some sort. So yeah. And I think it's also a lot of like self-realization also. Like, I think what Rashid and Wingfeng was saying about procrastination as well. And also like the fact that you're overconfident. If you've already realized that you're a procrastinator or sometimes you can be overconfident in certain things, then you can actually think about, okay, I know this is who I am, and then I have to study accordingly, because like I do not want to actually like drop the ball right when the time matters when you're doing the test. So yeah, it's always good to actually have some self-realization and actually like do things accordingly as well.
Camilla, what about you? Have you experienced such before?
In my case, it was actually on the SPM days itself. I think I was a bit, so what put me down was when my result was my Pendidikan Islam. I know I'm a Muslim, but then I got a freaking B for Pendidikan Islam, which is, oh, gee. But yeah, so basically in my case, it's like, I think because I've always gotten like A plus, A minus, or A. So then when you SPM hits, then I got a freaking D in the SPM. I think I realized that being too overconfident with it also is not good. And I think try to humble yourself. Like even though you get a A throughout your days, like throughout the trials, don't be too overconfident with on the SPM days. Even when you know the answer, it's like, oh, you know the answer, you're gonna answer it. Try to overthink it again and give like all options of what kind of other alternative answers that you can ever think about. And yeah, just calm, be more, don't rush to answering, but always think twice before answering. Yeah. So Mila, just put some points and then always come back to that question again and just try to double check, always double check. And yeah, look at the points. Is it like what the question wants rather than what you know? Yeah. So that's one thing from my side.
So I think another question that a lot of students probably have is that is the way to do well in their SPM exam just memorization. I know that's a technique that is frequently taught, right? Since like as early as we can remember, primary school days even, but some people think that, oh, okay, it's just, secondary school studies. It doesn't necessarily involve real understanding. What is your take on this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it honestly depends on the type of subject, right? For me, back in the like back in doing SPM, I remember that I have to like do a lot of memorization for Sejarah, which I don't really like as much because my memory is not that great. So Sejarah was one thing that I had to do a lot of memorization. Biology was another thing that had to do some memorization, but a lot of it actually kind of makes sense because you're studying the human body and you're studying plants, right? And sometimes you can actually see it and understand how things actually work. But in all honesty, like those types of like science subjects, I can't speak for the arts, but for the science subjects, you truly have to understand what's going on. Because sometimes the SPM questions that you may get requires some form of application. Like for instance, the good example that I have is like at maths, because we were back in the day we were actually told to calculate what's the area of a bowl, which is not really like a common question, but it was one of those high level questions that they added, and you are required to actually apply some level of like understanding of like the equations and how to differentiate those equations and find the gradients and stuff like that. So you need to have a very good understanding of how to actually apply what you learn, because that's the level of questioning that they might actually ask you as well. But yeah, you do need to have some level of understanding. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. But there are some, to me, in my opinion, I would actually like defer to all the rest as well. But there are some subjects that require memorization, like Java. I think you can't help it. That's the name of the game, right? But yeah, passing to the rest.
Yeah, great. So for me, I agree with Siva. So for example, like history and biology will be without passion or interest, that will be a pure memorization subject. I would say if let's say you have the passion for history, like you have an ambition of being an archaeologist, yeah, then maybe it's not memorization for you. It will be reading a storybook. It will be like reading a storybook to you. But if let's say you don't have the interest or passion on the subject, then it will be a pure memorization for you. So a bit of sharing, I remember during those days, I actually failed my sejarah during trial, SPM trial in the early mid years, I think during March, the trial. So I actually failed my sejarah, and that was horrible because sejarah and Bahasa Melayu is two of the subjects that are deemed compulsory to be passed in order for you to get your SPM certificate. So I was worried. I was very worried, very horrified with the result. And yeah, I just have to go all in to memorize the entire storybook. Yeah, and I ended up A plus for that subject. So it's a lot of effort, I would say. Then, as for the technique, right? Personally, I think the technique to mastering any things in life, not just academically, even of soft skills, hard skills, or any other skills in life, actually is the fundamental. So you really need to understand the fundamental of how things work, the mechanism, the operating mechanism of everything. Then you will be able to um, analyze what is the operating mechanism of everything, so that you will be able to find out what has contributed to this formula and what are the results of this formula, the calculated outcomes from this formula. So yeah, the fundamental is really important. That's my key takeaway on this.
Which I really like that answer a lot. I think, which a very similar but slightly different question. Do you think what you study in SPM, or rather, let me rephrase this. To what extent do you think what you study in SPM is relevant in real life for your future in your career? Maybe I will start with Rashid, because Rashid, you are from after SPM, you did business, right? You did HR management, and you're also in marketing and commercial line. So there's a different perspective.
Okay, it's actually very interesting though, because I remember I pursue science stream, but not pure science, because I dropped bio, replaced it with LK, Lukisan Kejuruteraan. And actually, at the time, my ambition was to become an engineer until I find out that physics was not my thing. And then, funny thing is that right after that, I pursued foundation in business and I did degree in accounting. Also did not work well on me because I have no foundation of accounting at all during SPM. So imagine from none, then suddenly I pursue a degree in accounting, and then I ended up in international business management, majoring in HR, and now I'm doing marketing. So to relate back to the question is that yeah, to some extent, whatever that I've studied in SPM does have some of its relevance, but not all subject can, like, you can apply it entirely in your next into your next chapter as you move into tertiary educations. So I would say that the important key takeaways here is that you have to be adaptable, you know, have an open heart to learn new things, discover what you actually really likes, if one things did not work well for you, it's okay. There's always another path for you, right? So for me, yeah, just be open and explore what you really like lah. But that doesn't mean that you can just wing it, that subject. It's still a good learning for you also. Yeah.
Maybe Camelia, I also will extend this question to you because your background after SPM is also fairly unique.
Sorry, terrorism, my Bluetooth was just like it was Bluetooth. So do you mind repeating it again?
Oh, no. No worries, no worries. So the question was, to what extent do you think what you study in SPM is relevant and helpful for you in real life? Yeah.
So in my case, I'm studying food technology. So back in SPM days, I think my biggest nightmare was definitely chemistry, because for me, in my case, the theories and the concepts are a bit similar. So it's like it's a bit overlapping. So you don't know when to use which concept for it. And I remember that I have a hard time understanding chemistry. But you know that one of the things that the thing that you hate most is something that you sort of like continue to pursue. I think this is the same as you as Siva, right? At maths, right? So in my case, it was chemistry. So things I hate is something that I think I continue to pursue and focus on, and that's what I did in my food technology. So it was basically more on food chemistry, food physics, food engineering, and yeah, I would say that coming back to that question is like it really, like SPM really like a stepping stone for me to actually unravel things I actually like, and things that you never know that the things you hate is the thing that you actually want to pursue in. And in my case, yeah, SPM is a big discovery for me to my own, like a bigger career, you know? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, it might be different, but yeah, the science, yeah, really helps.
Yeah, I think many of us, we discovered what we love, okay, and hated during our secondary school days, right? Okay, we're almost at the end of this. So one final question to each of you, and we will go in order of Rashid, Camellia, Wing Fong, Siva, right? What's a common misconception do you think students and people have told you have about SPM results?
I would say for me is that like back in the day, everyone thought that SPM result was everything, that if you did not get straight A or maybe like achieve the expectation, and then your future will be like doom, right? But it's not the end of it, because like I said, right after you leave your high school, that there is another chapter that you will go through. And yeah, like for me, for instance, because I went to private university afterwards, a lot of my curriculum activities is that um it was actually like not counted. It was completely disregard. So like I said, I agree with Siva that curriculum is very important if you want to pursue in public institutions. I've been through a lot of like student exchange program, and I even participate in what do you call that? Pertandingan kawat kaki. A lot of things I did back then. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's just not counted lah. Yeah, so that's just some misconception that I had during my time.
I think one of the misconceptions that people always say that SPM is not important. I mean, as much as like the subject is, okay, sometimes it's not related to what you study, like whatever you pursue in tertiary education is not related to, for example, if you come from science and then you come to accounting in your tertiary education, there's like a big jump, right? But I think one thing that I can learn, that you will learn in SPM is definitely about discipline and time management, and basically what's your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you're good at. And it is something that is you need to go through it. And as much as like you hate it, you just have to go through it, because in the end, at the end, whatever results you get, you always get something in. It's either you learn a lot more yourself, or you know what your subject or what your career in. So there's always a benefit you will get from SPM. So yeah, just go through it and enjoy. It's gonna be fun the next 2 months.
All right. So, Siva, I go first. Yeah. Okay, so in my humble opinion, I think some may think that scoring SPM may be the ultimate goal during your high school days. As I grow older, I realize that it's okay whether you score well or not, because you might end up into different pathways down the road. So most importantly, do not let the stress or pressure from your peers affect your decision making. Most important decision making, don't let the fear of missing out affect your decision making. This is very important. And one thing to take note is that everyone was born with a distinctive gift. You may not be academically excellent, but you may have superior creativity, or you may be sports talented. Do your best and make the decision without letting fear of missing out diminish your goals. So hereby, I would like to share a short but powerful principle that I still hold on to today. Consistency in doing repetitive work to be an expert. Persistency in enduring failures and embracing challenges to be an inventor. Last but not least, give yourself a break when you needed it. Yep, that's all from me. Thank you.
How can I follow up from three excellent people? Yeah, like I have a little bit of an unpopular opinion lah, because I think when I did my SPM, I did it at SMK Taman Desa 2 in Rawang. So like coming from a very small school, it was a little bit challenging because we often told in school itself that okay, this is the do all end all, right? Because SPM is that one thing that would actually bring you to the next level in higher education and everything. But at the same time, like I don't know where all of you come from, I mean the participants, but it's always good to, like I said in the beginning, have a balance, like have co-curricular activities to actually make things interesting to you as well. Because like the stress of it all could also affect your performance during the day of SPM as well. So it's always good to actually like take it easy, and there are different people with different skills. I agree with Hong Feng. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Um, so you may be really academically smart and you may ace the test and everything, but make sure you actually have that good balance of like fun as well. But you also may be like not as academically smart, but you're actually brilliant in terms of like leadership and all your soft skills as well. So make sure you actually sharpen those skills to actually to see yourself actually like progressing in the future. Because like SPM is just a blip, it's just 2 years of your life, and then after that there's a long way to go, right? So it's always nice to actually have the persistence to actually sharpen the skills that you've already identified, and yeah, just go forward and do your best.
All right, with that,
Wait,
the
sorry, Clarissa, I just want to add on something. Is that okay?
go on, go on. We are
Okay.
here for all
Yeah,
the tea.
I just want to say to you guys that just focus on the journey. It's not always about the goal. It's good to have a goal as a guidance for you to, have that sense of purpose, what you want to achieve. But at the end of the day, it's always enjoy the journey throughout the whole ride, right? Enjoy the learning process along the way. Appreciate your friends and all that. Because I think for me, if there's one thing that I would tell the younger me, if I can travel the time back in the day, is that the important skills and knowledge that could actually contribute when you join the workforce is not necessarily all the academic matters. It's more on like your interpersonal skills. Yeah, all the soft skills is very important, especially on how you present yourself, because there's a lot of like circumstances whereby when you apply to a job or even scholarship or you in top universities, right? When you went through interviews, it's not really about your results, it's how you carry yourself. Yeah, in terms of how articulate you speak and all that. Yeah, so those are actually really important as well. So that's something that you might want to look into, apart from just study.
Yeah, I completely agree with Rashid. Um, I think in the very beginning, kind of mentioned that everybody will take the same set of subjects, right? And at the end of the day, uh, there's nothing that differentiates you at the end of the day, because like you would often actually get somewhat of a similar grade. Like the A plus, there's no level of A plus, right? Everybody will just get an A plus or A minus. So then the one thing that would actually differentiate you as a candidate for anything, I mean, doesn't matter if it's a scholarship or a job or anything, is that interpersonal skills and everything else, the co-curricular activities. And sometimes I feel like that's slept upon. And but yeah, totally agree with Rashid.
Right. Before we officially conclude, I just want to open up to the audience. Do you guys have any questions for them? I hope their stories have inspired you, because as a working adult and I'm hearing some of these stories, I'm like, oh, okay, it's still applicable to me today. But I think the four of you have shared some really, really meaningful and helpful tips, right? Like, first, if you want to surround yourself with people that share the same dreams with you, that share the same goals, and you guys can do it together, so that you're not just always alone. And that's like extra motivation. Another one is that you cannot be overconfident. We've heard stories now of how like being overly comfortable in a certain subject, could teach you that major life lesson. I know SPM is about 2 months away for all of you. Some subjects you might be stronger in than others, but just like you heard from our teachers earlier today, you still have to cover all of them, right? You saw the color-coded charts that they shared. You still have to cover all of those, because all the questions, all those topics still get tested. Academics is important, but also remember that your extracurricular activities are just as important, because it's the thing that will shape your character, right? And help you develop the other interests outside of the classroom, which you may not necessarily easily get from. I think with that, the four of you guys, thank you so much for joining this seminar. I really, really appreciate